Hey Beau, I'm looking at purchasing a Planet Fitness franchise. What kind of financing options are there? I'm looking to invest as little as possible, as I'm sure most people who call you are looking to do. My credit score is excellent. The total project cost, including the building out of the space we've identified, is going to be $3.1 million. I was quoted by one bank that they'd finance up to 80%, but I'm looking for 90%. Is that possible for a startup like this? I have industry experience, however, I've never owned a gym myself. I'm pretty far down the road as far as moving this forward. At this point, I'm trying to nail down the financing before I sign the franchise agreement. Any help you can offer is appreciated. Thanks, Ian.
Hi, Ian. Great question. So we work on a lot of health clubs and fitness industry type of financing packages. And to answer your question, the SBA financing, which is most likely what's going to finance this franchise purchase or acquisition for you, would probably be the solution as you've gotten a quote, it sounds like, of 80% of total project costs. Well, the guidelines for SBA, they say they need a minimum on a business startup, which this is construed as a business startup, even though it's an existing franchise, you're doing a startup, that you need a minimum of 10% equity injection. So when you went to that bank, most likely it wasn't that the projections didn't allow for the cash flow to debt service a larger loan. They overlaid the transaction and said, hey, we're willing to do 80%. Most banks on startups will do 80, 85%, even if the cash flow is there or the projections are there. So my recommendations are to work with a bank that specializes in this vertical, that's financed health clubs and fitness clubs, and they like this franchise concept. Because if you find the right bank that likes the concept, most likely they're going to approve you at the 90% mark, as long as that's their thresholds. Some banks say, no, we're 80, 85% on any startups. Well, guidelines say a minimum of 10% down. So we routinely finance up to 90% on these type of franchise startups. So to answer your question, I think it is achievable. Obviously, I haven't looked at your Form 413, which is your personal financial statement. I haven't seen your affiliates, your tax returns, all that stuff. But assuming that all checks out and you have a good business plan and you've put together your projections and your sources and uses, there is 90% financing available. Now, if that's money coming from you, that 10% equity injection, these are things you didn't add into your question, but assuming you can have partners that come in, if they invest with you and they own less than 20%, then they could come in and they don't have to sign a guarantee and they don't have to go on the loan. So there's ways of bringing this equity in. So we need to dig into that a little bit more. But yes, 90% is achievable on an established franchise concept like Planet Fitness in the healthcare industry. So it's just going to we got to dive into the weeds a little bit and figure out all these unknowns that we haven't got into, obviously. But it was a great question because we do get these questions often. A lot of people that are doing fitness franchise concepts, or even people starting their own gyms or looking to expand their existing gyms. So great question. Happy to talk to you in depth. There is 90% financing available for Planet Fitness franchises. It's got a great reputation in the industry, so I would be happy to discuss this in detail. So feel free to book a call below and we can talk about your financing request. Thanks for the question, Ian.